Good evening to one and all present here in today's event. We have with us our product manager, Jason D'Souza, who would be decrypting the CFT score. He'll also explain how the CFT score is calculated, how to interpret it, and the strategies for selecting stocks based on positive financials. You can ask your queries in the Q&A session towards the end. Over to you, Mr. Jason.
Good evening to one all present here. In the last webinar, I went through some strategies on how to pick winning stocks. In today's event, we would be decrypting the CFT score. Let's look at how the CFT score has been calculated, how Markets Mojo uses the CFT score in its analysis, and how we can use the CFT score in picking winning stocks. Let's start off. A disclaimer. Investment in securities subject to market risk, past performance should not be construed as a guarantee for future returns. Now, before I start off, a lot of new investors might have joined us, and a lot of our Mojo professional or experienced investors might actually understand what the CFT score is and how it's calculated. But I will try to start off with the basics. The first 3 to 4 slides would be really basic. And as we move towards the end, it would get a bit more on expert mode on. But I'll start off with a very basic thing. Let's look at the Mojo score over here. Just a second. I'll just connect my screen. Yeah. Let's look at the Mojo score over here. Now, most of you all might be familiar of this. Out of a scale of 0 to 100, we rate all stocks listed on BSE and NSE. And as you can see, this particular score over here is at 72, which means it's buy. From 50 to 70, it's in the hold criteria, and below 50, we come to strong sell and sell. Now, if you understood what the Mojo score is and how does it work, this Mojo score is derived from these 4 parameters you can see here below. Quality, valuation, which are the long-term parameters, and financial trend and technicals, which are the near-term parameters over here. As you can see today, I'll be decrypting the CFT score, which looks at the result performance in comparison to the past and its peers. So let's start off. I will first show you all how do we calculate the CFT score. What exactly do we look at? So we look at the latest financials across multiple parameters, running 200 formulas. Okay, 200 formulas on each set of financial results. Quarterly results, the profit and loss account, balance sheet, cash flow statement, and shareholding patterns. 200 formulas across these, and that's how we calculate the CFT score. Let's go through each of them and see what questions do we actually ask the financial results. So if you see our quarterly results, and I've also written over here in blue, is that when do we receive the data? So quarterly results, as the name suggests, it comes in quarterly. Profit and loss accounts, we get this half yearly, twice a year. And when we look at these two things, we ask the following questions. Is the company's top line, bottom line growing? Are the net sales and profit increasing? What is the operating profit trend? How is the company handling its interest costs? These are some of the questions we ask these particular financial statements. Moving on to the third one, balance sheet. We get this data annually. And we look at if the company is borrowing, is it increasing or decreasing? And how has the assets increased over the period of time? We look at current assets, fixed assets, so on and so forth. Moving to the next one, cash flow statement. We get this data annually, as it suggests here. And few of the people who might actually understand account and finance, if there's cash flow statements, we look at cash flow from operations, cash flow from investing activities, cash flow from financing activities. But here at Markets Mojo, we look at the cash flow from operation, and we look at does the cash flow support the company's profit, and is it generated by internal operations? Lastly, shareholding pattern, we get this data quarterly. And these are some of the questions we ask. Is there a growth in the FI holdings, DI holdings, promoter holdings? And we also look at pledged promoter holdings. So the 5 financial statements I spoke about, these are some of the questions we ask. And finally, these are some of the ratios and parameters we consider when we look at these 5 financial statements. Around 36 key factors over here. If you see, starts off with net sales, other operating income, profit after tax. You can see few ratios over here like gross NPA, net NPA, net interest income, CASA, which we look at banks. We look at all these 36 different factors, but it's not important at what we look at. Here, I want to stress on how we look at these particular things across different horizons. Now, I won't just see net sales with the previous quarter or net sales with just 2 quarters. I'll look at net sales across different horizons. I'll see whether the net sales has increased over the last 5 quarters. Is the net sale of this quarter higher than the similar quarter on the previous year, and so on and so forth. we're looking at different horizons. And the reason we are doing that is we are trying to find out something known as consistency. Is this company consistently performing well on its net sale parameter? We are not looking at a one-off trend. Let's say koi company, if it receives a very high net sales due to some particular order and the CFT score shows positive and it goes up, we are not just looking at that. We are looking at a consistent behavior across different time horizons. The third one is seasonality. Now this is really important. Here we look at a particular seasonal trend. If particular company gets higher sales during winter season, then we will compare that quarter with the previous winter quarter. So we look at seasonality as well when we look at these 36 key factors. So as I said, it's not important at what we are looking at. Apart from these 36 key factors, we are looking at them via different horizons. Completely different, whether it's being consistent and across seasons. Now moving on, I will explain to you how the CFT score interacts with our system. How does it come in, what exactly happens, and how much time does it take to calculate the CFT score finally. Starting off, we get this particular data from our providers, the 36 key factors I spoke about, the 5 different financial statements. We get this from our data providers. We run some checks and balances. Now this is really important over here. Let's say our particular data provider gives net sales of some particular company up by some 4,000% or 3,000%. Now that might not actually be true. So we run some checks and balances to see whether the company's net sales is actually increased. And this is really important. You should understand that the data which comes in the system should be pure and clean. If there's some slight error, it might go in the system and give out a completely wrong CFT score and then a completely wrong Mojo score. So there are some checks and balances we run here manually to check whether the net sales provided by our data provider is actually clean and pure. Now this is really quick. Once the checks and balances are done, less than 60 seconds, we analyze the data and we present to you the CFT score. So the upper band of the CFT score is around 45 and the lower band is around minus 45. We calculate the CFT score looking at those 5 different financial results I spoke about, and we calculate this particular CFT score. So now I've taken you across how do we calculate the CFT score, why we look at different time horizons, how is the CFT score entering the system, going through some checks and balances, getting analyzed, and finally we get the particular score. Now I'll take you across how we have done it, how Markets Mojo has used the CFT score to identify trends across different companies. I've picked up 2 examples over here. CFT score and price trend over the long term. I picked this particular company, Mastic. It's one of our top performing companies. And I'll just elaborate on this chart slowly. If you see this black color line over here, it's the price movement of the stock. And if you see these bars which are shooting upwards, this is the CFT score. Let's see 21 for this particular quarter in December 2017. This is the CFT score which is coming quarter on quarter. And this is the price movement. So I'll tell you how Markets Mojo actually used the CFT score to supplement its analysis. If you see here, this was the entry point we did for Mastic. April 2020 over here, we did an entry point when the company saw a positive current financial trend. And if you see the exit, it's right up over here. So if you see the CFT score was positive, the price kept moving upwards, a very direct correlation over here. And we finally took an exit over here when the score was around 16 and the score also considerably dropped quarter on quarter. We took an exit over here. 491% return. Entry date 20th April, exit date 20th April 2022. 2-year period, 491% return. Pure multi-bagger. Let's look at another example of how we used it. Now if you look at this chart, look at the price and look at the CFT score, perfect correlation. As the CFT score started improving, the price moves upwards. As the CFT score deteriorated, the price also fell down. But now we've used this trend to actually identify our entry and exit points as well. We entered over here. Now if you see this, the company had a minus 25 CFT score, which increased directly to 7, a 32-point increase. And we made our entry over here. When did we exit? We exited over here when the company started declaring negative results. So if you see, CFT score has actually supplemented our analysis in understanding, okay, यहाँ पे entry करना है, यहाँ पे इस company ने पहली बार positive trend दिया 3 quarters से पहले. The price moved upwards. As the company started declaring negative results, we exited. 158% return, 1-year period. Let's see, 12th November 2020, 9th November 2021. Are there any exceptions? There are exceptions. Now, there could be few companies where the CFT score and the price doesn't move in tandem. Let's say the particular company is actually declaring losses. The CFT score is really poor. But there's a particular news in the market that the company might improve in the future. There's a particular order that the company has got, or some particular news where the company might move in the future. So the market will discount it today and the price will go upwards. So there are a few chances when the CFT score doesn't move in tandem with the price of the company. Now, you need to understand these are just some exceptions. If you go back after the webinar and actually look at any stock CFT score and the price, there's a very strong correlation over there. And that's how we will use the CFT score, the change in the CFT score, to actually also understand our entry points and our exit points going forward. Now that you all have understood what is CFT score, हम लोग क्या-क्या देखते हैं, what all factors we look at, we also looked at how Markets Mojo has used the CFT score in its own analysis. But today I present to you something which is my own CFT strategy, and I'm trying to give you a new perspective. Let's look at CFT score in a different way itself. I've mentioned two words over here, improved versus fallen. I'll take you all across what does it exactly mean, and it's a completely new perspective, which will help us pick winning stocks going forward. So let's go to the website. Now you see I'm on the particular homepage over here. I'll take you to the result corner section. In my first webinar, I've also taken all over there. I'll take you to this result corner section over here. Now if you see here, there are two particular columns over here. One is the financial trend and result commentary. I'll just sort this. Okay. This is the current financial trend. This 46, I'll just zoom in. This 46 you see over here is the CFT score for the current financial trend. Outstanding results. And this thing over here is what I want to show you all. Improved versus fallen. This previous score is the CFT score of the last quarter. This 46 is for the current quarter. As you see, 46 greater than 36. It has improved from the previous quarter. This is something we're going to focus at today, and you'll have to actually understand this particular thing. Let's look at some other company. I want to show you all a particular example. Okay, let's look at this particular company over here. It has an outstanding trend, but the arrow moves downwards. So a lot of investors come back to me saying, Jason, there's this particular stock, it has a very positive trend, but the arrow is downwards. What does it exactly mean? It means that the current financial score is 39, but the previous score was higher. So there's a particular drop. So it is fallen actually. Even though it's a good outstanding performance, it is lesser than the previous score. So it has fallen. Now you can see a lot of examples over here. Current financial score, previous financial score improved. There's an improvement over here. Let's look at this particular one. Again, outstanding results, this current financial trend. Previous score was 38. So it has actually fallen from the previous score. So that exactly is what improved versus fallen means. And it's a new perspective. Not many of us actually look at this, but we look at improved versus fallen today in our strategy. Does improved companies make a difference? So what have I done is I've looked at some particular data points. I've looked at BSE 500 companies, all BSE 500 companies. And this data is as on 28th November, which is Monday. It's not as of today. And I've excluded companies which have seen no change. They've neither improved or neither fallen. So look at this particular quadrant over here. 195 companies from BSE 500 have improved their financial trend. 254 companies have fallen. And if you look at these two columns, what it tells us, it is the returns of the company since the result date. Result declare करने के बाद company कितना ऊपर move हुआ है. This is negative return companies, positive return companies. Let's look at this particular quadrant over here. 195 companies have improved the CFT score, from which 64% or 125 companies have seen positive returns since the result. This is a very good trend. If you look at improved companies, 64% strike rate hai apna. After 64%, these companies have actually moved up, positive returns since result. This is what we're trying to find out today. We're going to see after the company declares its results, which companies actually move up. So if you see improved, 64% strike rate. Now the main question, can the 64% actually get better? You know, I'm not happy with 64% and neither you should be happy. Can this 64% get better? Let's apply some basic filters. I won't apply many filters. Two basic filters and I'll take you all across the same. The first filter over here is valuation. The valuation of the company, the first slide I showed you all the 4 Mojo dots. This is the valuation of the company. I'll apply a particular filter. And if you see in brackets, I've written before the result. Now this is really important. I'm not talking about the valuation as of today. I'm talking about the valuation just before the result. I'll be applying a very attractive, and a fair filter. Now if you see, we've got a new list, the list of companies have been revised. 65 companies have improved this time with this particular filter, from which 84%, look at how 64 has become 84 with just one particular filter of valuation over here. Out of 65 companies, 55 companies, 84% has actually moved up. Higher strike rate here, we've gone from 64 directly to 84 just by applying one filter of valuation. I'm trying to ask my screener ki, give me companies which have improved. Perfect, give me companies which have improved, but their valuation should be very attractive and fair. 84% strike rate. Now you'll be shocked, can this 84% actually get better? Yes, it can. One last filter. We'd look at technicals. Again, technicals before the result. मैं आज का technical नहीं देख रहा हूँ, not the technical trend of today. The technical trend before the company declared the result, we'd look at bullish and mildly bullish companies. Look at the results, shocking. Now we have 34 improved companies, from which 97%, we are just close to 100. 33 companies have actually given positive returns since their result. Look at the difference. We started off with 64. We added one particular filter, it became 84. One last filter of technicals, and now we have 33 companies. Look at the strike rate, 97% directly. So out of 34 companies which have improved, valuation very attractive and fair, technical bullish and mildly bullish, 97% of the companies have given positive returns since their result date. This is the golden slide. This is the particular strategy. Just with 3 filters, not much of maths, nothing. 3 filters. Improved companies, valuation before result should be very attractive and fair, technical bullish and mildly bullish. 3 filters, and we have a 97% strike rate over here. Why does this happen? Why are we achieving such a high strike rate? I'll take a look across that. This is the golden slide, our strategy. Why does this exactly happen? Because I've asked the system a particular question. When I thought of picking stocks, I asked a particular question. I said, give me stocks that have improved their financials. You know, we saw improved versus fallen. We're looking at stocks that have improved their financials, are not expensive. We looked at very attractive and fair companies, and are moving upwards. Technical bullish and mildly bullish. Just this particular question. I'll repeat it. Give me stocks that have improved their financials, not expensive, and are moving upwards. This is the breakdown of how the companies, those 33 companies have performed. 0 to 5% return, 11 companies. 5 to 10%, 4 companies. 10 to 20%, 10 companies have given that much return. You'll not believe 8 companies have given about 20% return since their results. About 20%. And the result season has just ended in November itself. So within this few days itself, by applying 3 filters, we've got a list of 33 strong companies that have actually moved upwards. Now that we have our strategy in mind, we've got the 3 filters in mind, I will take you all to the screener section and actually show this in action, how exactly this happens. So let's create something similar in screener. The reason I'm saying similar is that the filters I used of valuation and technical was before the result date. And what filters we're going to use now is as on today. So that's why the number of companies might be a bit different, but a lot of companies actually belong to this particular list. I will take a look across. So I think most of you all know how to go to the screener section, simply under research. Second last point, make your own screener. We're under expert screener over here. And now I won't create the screener from scratch. If you are attending my first event, I told you all about the option of saving a particular screener. So I've already made a particular screener called CFT Improved Strategy. Now we have 46 stocks over here. I spoke about 33. Let me take you across how I created this particular screener. The index was BSE 500. I told you I took in BSE 500 companies. My first particular parameter valuation, very attractive, fair. Technical grades, bullish, mildly bullish. Result quarters, all results. And yeah, and I also put the financial trends over here to see how is it improved. Now this is an important parameter. The financial trend change. I have spoken about improved companies, so we have to see whether the score has improved, that is +1 and upwards. So this is financial trend change. I'll be keeping minimum value 1. The reason I'm keeping minimum value 1 is you'll have to understand this. I'm looking at improved companies. किसका financial trend score change हुआ है, growth हुआ है. तो मैं 1 minimum value रखूँगा and up to the maximum value. And I'm also putting these two filters over to see the returns, how it has performed. Okay, this is the particular screener which has been printed over here. This is second, I think, a slight glitch here. These are the list of stocks that have one improved, very attractive fair valuation, and also technical bullish and mildly bullish. Look at how these companies have performed. JK Paper, I think, also part of our top stock list. Let's look at a 1 month period performance of these stocks. I'm sorting in descending order. This particular stock, Rail Vikas, which has moved up 86% since 1 month. UCO Bank, 53%, so on and so forth. And if you scroll below, the number of stocks that are actually, I can see all positive stocks in the last 1 month since the result period. And I don't think I can see many negative stocks as I go below. Yeah, there are a few negative stocks, around 8. So out of 46 companies, look at how strong and powerful this screener is. It's giving you most of the companies which have done extremely well in the last 1 month. You can also look at it in the current week period, returns since the last 1 week. Yeah, there are hardly any companies which have given negative results. These are the list of companies over here. Rail Vikas, Apollo Tyres, Equitas Holding. If you see most of the companies, I can see quality as average. There's one particular company with quality below average. So you'll have to be careful before picking these companies. Don't go and buy all these 46 companies. You'll have to understand that where do these 46 companies actually fit in your risk profile? Can you pick this particular company? Is it a micro cap? Is it a large cap? Do you already have many large caps? Ask these questions to yourself before going ahead and investing in any of these companies. It's not a straight key, there are 46 stocks, so I'll put all of them in my portfolio. Don't do that. Look at each of these companies, see which one fits, and then you can do it. Now, one thing you'll have to understand is that these companies have already moved up. And the strategy I applied was during the result season. So what we will do is, during the next result seasons which come up, we will also apply this particular strategy live during the webinars. And we will see how we can pick particular stocks that have, one, improved their financial trend performance, valuation very attractive, fair, technical mildly bullish and bullish. Just these 3 filters. I'll take a look across the golden slide again. Just 3 filters. We're looking at improved companies. Valuation before the result should be very attractive and fair. Lastly, technical before the result should be bullish, mildly bullish. We will have a particular event next time during the result season. Let the October, November, December quarter get over. We'll again have an event in Jan. And we will do this particular screener live. And then let's see if we can actually pick stocks that have run up so much. There's also one thing is I've only looked at this particular quarter and the last one this time. I also spend time and look if this has worked over the previous years. Whether this screener has worked during COVID time or just after COVID, during the bullish phase, so on and so forth. I'll also look whether it has performed well across these different market phases. And I'll come next time and actually show you all the results. Okay, so before I move to the Q&A session, there are 2 offers we have currently, which is only exclusively available to webinar attendees. And if you're not a Mojo Professional member, you have to understand that most of the analysis I'm doing right now is only available if you're a Mojo Professional member. So there are 2 offers. There's a 1-year offer with a 1 month free. There's a 2-year offer with 3 months free over here. If you're already a paid member, you can also extend multiple times. And I think with that, we will start off with the Q&A session. Over to you, Adrian.
Yeah. The first question is from Mr. Advait. Hi, can we invest in stocks using the CFT score change method? Should we look at the score in case the results are good?
Okay, so you're asking if we can invest in stocks using the CFT score improved versus fallen method. Yes, you can. But one thing I would strictly say is don't just look at the CFT score only. Look at the Mojo score as well. You have to understand that the Mojo score is one part and CFT score is just a small part of it. It's one of the dots. So before you invest in stocks using this particular strategy, you also have to look at the Mojo score. Make sure it's not a strong sell. And I think with that, yeah, you can simply use the CFT score change method.
The next question is from Mr. Ladda. Please give demo of apply filters of technical and valuation before result and CFT after result.
Yeah, I think this is one particular filter which I have used. I have the data, I have used it. And currently, if you apply valuation or technical filter, it's as of today. What I have done is I have gone before the result, one day before the result. But it's a really good suggestion. What I'll do is I'll speak to my team and see if we can apply this thing as on dates. But yeah, I'll have a word with the team and see if we can implement it.
The next question is from Mr. Ravish. Hi Jason, can you please help me understand why we have used the valuation parameter?
Yeah. Nice question. I'll take you across why we use the valuation parameter and the technical parameter. I'll take you across this. Can you just show my slide for a second? Yeah. The reason I've used valuation parameter, I'll tell you why. When we look at very attractive and fair companies, these companies haven't actually moved up. They are not trading at an expensive range. Now these companies are available at a cheaper valuation. If these companies have declared good results, then they have a higher chance of price appreciation. Because these companies are already very attractive, they're already cheap. And since they are cheap and they've declared good results, the market is discounting that. The market is like, okay, these companies are actually attractive, very attractive. These companies have given good results. So many people will actually go and invest in such particular companies. Why we use bullish and mildly bullish technicals is that a company which is actually bullish and mildly bullish is already moving upwards. There's some positive factor and momentum with this particular stock. You know, if a company, let's say, is very bearish in the market, even though it has a good CFT score, there might be some news in the market why it's actually very bearish. There might be some corporate governance news, something which we are not capturing and the market is capturing really well. So that's why I've used these two parameters over here. Valuation, for the main reason is that these companies have not moved up substantially compared to its fundamentals. So they have a high price appreciation. If you look at this particular side over here, look at how the companies have moved up. About 20% we have 8 companies, 10 to 20% 10 companies. These companies are attractive. So they've not moved up. And lastly, technicals, because the market is discounting something. The market is actually pushing the stock upwards. Yeah.
The next question is from Mr. SSP. How do you identify the trend of stock? Bullish, very bullish or bearish? Do you use CFT score or any other parameter?
No. So to understand the trend of the stock, I'll take you across the website. Okay, let's take a particular stock for now. I'll open this particular stock called KRBL. Yeah, just share my screen here. I'll just click on technical. So to understand whether the stock is bullish, mildly bullish, bearish, we have 7 different indicators. We don't look at CFT score over here. This is the 7 different indicators we look at: MACD, RSI, Bollinger Bands. If you want to go in depth, you could click on this view details. And now we go to the technical page of the stock. So if you see, KRBL turned bullish from mildly bullish on 30th November 2022, which is I think 1 yesterday, at 412.5. This is a particular candle over here which says that it has turned bullish, this particular triangle over here. You see, turned bullish, a triangle, green one. So we look at these 7 different indicators across weekly and monthly periods. If you scroll below, you will get all these indicators and what exactly is happening with these indicators. So no, we don't use CFT, coming back to the question. We have a particular technical trend analysis which we run, 7 different indicators, and you can come on this particular page to understand whether the stock is turning bullish, mildly bullish, so on and so forth. And if you see, KRBL is one of the stocks I picked up from the screener. If you see over here, this is one of the stock which actually entered my screener, and it has moved from mildly bullish to bullish. The company wasn't actually bullish during its result. It was somewhere here. And then it moved upwards. Yeah.
The next question is from Mr. Ronald. Please show how to select valuation before results, because you showed only the current valuation.
Yeah, so as I said, valuation before results is not actually available currently. And the one major drawback of this particular thing is that right now we're looking at current valuation. Valuation before result is actually not available. So what I promise is that next time during January, when we have the result season on, that time I'll come live and actually show you all how to pick the valuation as on that date of the result. So yes, valuation before result is not available as a parameter. I will speak to the team if we can implement it. But yeah, next time when I come in front for this particular topic, we will come during the result season itself.
The next question is from Mr. Sridhar. Good evening. Can we have the trend of Mojo score of every stock so as to decide to hold or sell?
Could you just flash the question?
The next question is from Sridhar.
Can we have the trend of Mojo score of every stock as to decide hold or sell. Yeah. So currently we don't have the Mojo score trend, but what we've implemented is something very new, and I'll take you across it. I don't know if many investors know this, but this is something really nice which we've recently implemented. Could you just show my screen? I've come to this particular stock TCS and I'm looking at the Mojo score over here. You can look at this particular line below which we've recently implemented. I think last week or last week. The score of the company has changed from hold to buy. So the trend is upwards. It was in hold previously and it's now moved to buy. So we have started giving the previous score of the stock. You can see here the score has changed from hold to buy, which date, 29 November, again, 2-3 days ago, at this particular price. So we don't have a trend chart as such, but we've now started giving you the previous score of the stock over here. So you can actually then understand ki, okay, the stock has come from strong buy to buy, it's facing some pressure, or from hold to buy, so on and so forth, yeah.
The next question is basically a suggestion from Mr. Chippa. Why screener refreshes so fast? By the time we set a filter, it gets refreshed and all the filters are lost. Can you reduce that rate at least off market hours?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it refreshes really fast and you lose the particular screens. I'll have a look at this. And yeah, I'll speak to the team if we can reduce the rate of the refresh. But what I think is I'll just take you to across screener. I'm not really sure of what you meant by refreshing. Because if I put a particular screen over here, it might remain static itself. But I'll have a word with the team and see if we can stop the refresh rate or something as possible.
Jason, there are a lot of queries that you are planning to have a webinar on portfolio optimizer.
Yeah, portfolio management,
Any schedule or...
Yeah, so I want to have a particular webinar on portfolio management, not portfolio optimizer. So I'll do one thing. I'll go back to the last portfolio last time we made. So you could just share my screen once. So if you remember the first webinar I did, I invested this in some list of particular stocks. These are the list of stocks. The reason I've not done actually the portfolio management webinar is this portfolio hasn't moved up exactly. It still remained at this, it's just 1 week. We cannot actually manage this particular stock. But I've had a word with my investment team. I'll be picking out some portfolios, some different kinds of portfolios. And if anyone of you all want me to actually analyze your portfolio during the event, you can send in a particular request to the feedback team. But I'll be looking at portfolios. We will be having this portfolio management webinar most probably next week itself. And we will then look at how we can, change stocks in your particular portfolio to optimize it better. If you see, we've picked these stocks. Some of them are done handsomely well. Like Persistence Systems has moved 18%. I think I did the webinar on Monday last week. And I think within around 10 to 15 days, it's already moved up 18%, 3% here, 7% for Eddington, so on and so forth. This is the unrealized gain, how much is moved up till now. But if you see, it's a very short period. It's actually a very short period. You can't actually analyze it. If you see, the returns is also not as good as the composite index. And if you see the returns in inception, it's 2.89. So it's just started. But yes, we will have the portfolio management webinar. I will mostly have it next week itself. We look at different kinds of portfolios. We look at portfolios where investors have lots of stocks. Portfolios where investors have only few stocks. And if you want me to particularly analyze your portfolio during the event, just send in a particular request and I'll see if it's possible to actually analyze one of your portfolios during the portfolio management webinar.
The next question is from Mr. Tarun Fernandez. Which sectors are these stocks filtered from?
Yeah. There is a trend in this actually. I'll take you across the filter again. There is a particular trend. When I saw the data, there was a particular trend. I could see a lot of banks, private banks and public banks in this particular screen. I'll just show you. So if you see the industries over here, and you can also sort it. But one thing I saw a lot of companies from the finance space, finance and NBFC space and the banking space. And that's actually what happened. All these companies, these private banking companies actually improved their financial trend. You can see finance and NBFC, a lot of companies, lots of private banks, 4 private banks, many public banks. So if we actually applied this particular screen over there, you could have picked up many of these particular stocks, private banks, public banks, and across different sectors. But if you ask me a trend, finance and the banking sector, there was a very strong trend. And you see how beautiful this is? We actually picked those particular companies from this particular filter. So if you had applied this particular filter, we would have picked. And we will also try to find out which industry performs well in the next quarter as well using this particular filter.
The next question is from Mr. Prakash. How do we see the stock price curve over a month, over a year, etc.?
So if you click on any particular stock, okay, so I've opened Polycab India. Simply go to this price drop down over here. And here you can actually see over a month, over a year, so on and so forth. So I've clicked on 1 month. This was the high, and this is how it has moved. And how many days it has moved up, how many days it has gone down, 1 year, so on and so forth. Now, if you don't want to actually see 1 month, 1 year, we got a calendar year as well. So you can actually pick any of the dates since the company was listed and actually filter on that particular date. So if you want to see any particular company, how is it done from its result? Simply put the result date over here. Let's say the result was on 10th November and today. And you get a particular comparison over here of how the company has performed versus Sensex.
The next, it's a message from Mr. Umakant. Hi Jason, excellent and in-depth presentation for the first time. A detailed and simple explanation on filtering huge data into filtered data. CFT improved, valuation and improved use of screeners to analyze the data is so simple. Congrats to you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And it's actually even more simpler. And if you see, there's a lot of data I've seen, there's a lot of trends I've actually seen. And as I promised, I'll be coming for more events in the future as well. And this particular webinar will also be available after a while. So in case you all didn't understand how to use this particular screener, we will keep it live on our webinar homepage. If you simply go over here to Knowledge Center, you just show my screen. Yeah, if you go to Knowledge Center and Best of Webinars, I will keep the webinar live over here for a while. You can see yesterday's Equity Outlook webinar, which is available over here. So in case you missed it, simply go to Knowledge Center and Best of Webinars. And you can see all the recent webinars we've done, just demo by Karan, so on and so forth. So I'll keep this particular event over here in case I was a bit fast or I did not actually get the strategy. You know where to come, Knowledge Center, Best of Webinars. This is available both on the desktop and the app.
The next question is from Mr. Akshay Raj. Sir, why are you taking half-yearly metrics also in determining CFT? Is it not contradictory?
So it's not actually contradictory. I'll tell you why. I'll just take you all to my particular slide as well. Yeah, just a second. Yeah, you could just share my screen. Yeah. So it's not contradictory. The reason we're doing this is that we want to look at it across different horizons. If we just look at quarter on quarter, we're looking at a particular hindsight. You know, I'm only looking at this particular company's quarter in the previous quarter. We're looking at half yearly. We're also looking at 9 monthly trends as well. And the reason is that we want to see whether these companies are actually performing well consistently over a period of time. You know, there might be, if you look at only quarter, let's say we only look at quarter for current financial trend, our analysis will only be skewed towards that particular quarter. And we won't get an idea, okay, this particular company, how well it used to do before. And now it's just done this much. So we don't only look at quarterly and half yearly, we also look at 9 monthly. We look at different horizons so that we can pick up the best of the stocks that are consistently doing well.
The next question is from Mr. MK. Hello Mona this side. How fast CFT score is updated? Also inform how fast the Mojo score is updated, weekly, monthly or quarter on quarter.
Okay. So how fast the CFT score is updated, I have shown it on my slide. It's less than 60 seconds. As soon as the data comes into the system, I spoke about checks and balances. Once that's done, less than 60 seconds. And the CFT score is updated. How fast the Mojo score is updated, I don't actually have an idea of that. I'll have to speak to the team for that. But it's updated not weekly, monthly, quarter on quarter. It's updated daily. So every day around evening, 6, 7, 2 p.m., this particular Mojo score is updated. But I'll check on how fast the Mojo score is updated. I don't have an idea of that. I'll speak to my team and get back on that.
So many are saying that thanks to Jason for keeping the first webinar as well in the Knowledge Center because I missed it. Beautiful presentation.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I think the first webinar is currently not there in the Knowledge Center. But what I'll do is I'll go to YouTube and make a particular playlist of all these strategy webinars. So in case you want to pick up particular stocks, you can review them later.
The next question is from Mr. Ramaswamy. What is the difference between Mojo score and CFT score in detail?
Yeah. I'll go to a particular stock actually. Let's look at Infosys. So this is I think what my first slide was. This is the Mojo score. This is the final call on the company. This is 72 currently. It's the final call on the company. This is the last point at which our analysis stops. Is the Mojo score. And to calculate this Mojo score, if you just scroll below, we look at these 4 Mojo parameters. Quality, valuation, CFT, and technicals. So CFT score is just part of this particular Mojo parameters, which then runs to get the particular Mojo score over here. So if you ask me which is more important, obviously the final score on the stock is what you have to actually also look at. Whether the stock is not at a strong sell or sell, it's mostly in buy or over here in this particular field. So CFT score is just a part of the entire Mojo score which runs. It's just something which supplements our research and analysis. It's not the call on the company. It's just something which actually supplements. These 4 dots work together, and then we finally calculate the Mojo score. Yeah.
The next question is from Mr. Bala. Dear Jason, what is the maximum possible positive CFT score?
So I think the maximum positive CFT scores are at the range of 45 to 50. I don't know the exact number. We can actually find that. You can just go to, let's go to this particular, let's see which company has given the maximum CFT score this season. Okay, I'll go to result corner. The last option under result, research. And you can sort this financial trend over here. Okay, 46. So I think around an upper limit of 50, a lower limit of minus 45. That's my understanding. I'll also speak to the team on what exactly this number is. But if you see UG1 small has given an outstanding result score of 46 over here. There's also JK Weber, and you all might be aware of these particular stocks, some of the Mojo professional investors. These are our top rated stocks. So if you see here, I think 46 is towards 50 is the highest, and if you see below, I think it's minus 45. Okay, see, these companies are something which you'll have to be really aware of, because they've actually, and you can look, it's like all of them actually fallen over here with the result commentary. So they are actually poor performing companies.
The next question, it's basically a very common question, Jason. If the CFT score reduces after result, is it an indication to sell the stock?
No, it's actually not an indication to sell the stock. I'll tell you why. Let's say a particular company CFT score has actually reduced. It's only one particular parameter which explains the movement of the stock. Even if the CFT score has reduced, there might be a particular reason which the market is already aware of. Let's say the company had some particular sanctions or something, and that particular factor will already be discounted in the market. So if the CFT score has actually reduced, you don't have to actually take a call that I'll exit a particular stock. Exit should be strongly based on Mojo score. When it comes to entry of a stock, you can use CFT to supplement your analysis. But don't ever think of exiting a stock just because of one particular quarter and it has not done well. So now let's exit the stock. No, that's a completely wrong strategy. It might be possible that a particular company has not done well this quarter, but it has scope for improvement. The score is still buy or hold. Then you don't have to look at exiting the stock. So use CFT score just to supplement your analysis. Don't make direct calls of exit simply based on CFT score. Look at the Mojo score for that case.
The next question is from Ms. Nandini. What about contingent liabilities and audit qualifications in the balance sheet? Are they considered anywhere in the Mojo score or CFT?
I think contingent liabilities, yeah, we do look at these liabilities. Audit qualifications, so these are the particular results which are given to the BSE and NSE directly. They have been checked and stuff. And we have our own checks and balances we keep in place over here. So, as I said, if a particular company's net sales is extremely gone high, let's say the net sales of the company has actually gone up by 3000%, we have our own checks and balances over here. But you'll also have to keep in mind that this particular result is given to the exchanges itself. So they do have their internal audit as well. And then the data comes to us. And we also have a check and balance at our particular place.
The next question is from Mr. Sanket. How much percentage or score is divided between the 4 dots? I mean quality, CFT, etc.
So that's something which I don't know myself. This is very secret. It's our Mojo IP. And that's something I'll not be able to give you. No one will be able to give you that particular answer. And I actually won't be able to give you that because it's part of the IP and it's something which is a main core of our score. So I can't give you any of the particular weightages. And to be honest, I don't know that myself. It's very secret to the organization. Just very few chosen people who know that particular breakup. I don't know the answer myself.
The next question is from Mr. Tony. Does CFT and Mojo score move in tandem?
Not always. CFT is just part of the Mojo score. So there might be a particular time when, the company has declared poor results. Now, there are a few particular cases, like if you look at Tata Motors, the CFT is actually negative. The company is actually declaring losses on losses, but the price has actually moved up. So there are times when the CFT and Mojo score won't move in tandem. There might be something that the market knows. It's already discounted the poor financial trend. There might be something the market knows. So there are a few exceptions that CFT and Mojo score don't move in particularly tandem.
The next question is from Mr. Arminder. What is C in CFT Mojo parameter uses quarterly financial trend, so it should be QFT.
Yeah, I mean, so C is current, and when we say current, we mean the current quarter, and we've written it QFT in one particular place. But what we meant is current financial trend. So all the financial trends I'm showing you, all the particular, the positive, negative you see over here, is actually on the current quarterly financial trend. So it's just a nomenclature, CFT, or you can also call it QFT, but looking at the current financial trend of the company.
The next question is from Mr. Mohan. Sir, in your mobile app, what is the path to CFT score? You can show that.
I can't actually share my mobile, but I don't know if any of you all actually know how to switch your particular desktop browser into a mobile view. What I've done is I have Chrome currently open. I'll simply click on inspect over here. And there's this mobile view over here, So if you want to see how it looks in the mobile, this is how our website actually looks in the mobile. And if you ask me where financial trend is, you can simply scroll below. And this is where the current financial trend, very similar how we have it on the website. You can see here we also have the particular price over here. I'll just zoom in a bit because I think people can't see. Yeah. So if you see here, this is the particular way it looks in the mobile. Just few scrolls below, and you find the third dot over here, which is financial trend.
The next question is from Mr. Vijay. Even though financial trend of Praj Industries is consistent, the Mojo score is dropping, and the stock performance will improve soon as the booking of the company is also rising. But the Mojo score is 61. Do you still see it's better to exit from the stock?
Yeah, let's look at Praj Industries. I'll just search it. Could you just share my screen? So we are at Praj Industries right now. The score is at around 61 over hold. And yeah, it's actually in the middle side. Let's look at the financial trend. I said this financial trend is actually doing well. So let's look. So if you look at it a longer period, so I'm looking at it in the past 3 years, you've actually said the price is falling. But if you look at the longer period, when it had negative financial trend, and as soon as it started having a positive financial trend, the stock has been moving upwards since then. You might be talking about this particular fall over here from in this particular month. I think it's a very short period to see as well. If you ask me personally, I had a particular slide which I showed you last time, is when if a particular stock is between 50 to 60 and 60 to 70. So now since this stock is between 60 to 70, its score is 61 and it's moving downwards, then you could look at exiting the company. Now you have to also understand one thing is apart from the financials of the company, there's a lot of other factors which the market is discounting. There might be something which is negative with the company. That's why even though it has declared good results, it's actually falling. So if you ask me about this particular stock, the score is around 61 to 70. Let's look at the returns actually to get a better idea. Yeah, it's been correcting. I think 3 months period is underperformed. 1 month period is underperformed. So if you see the stock is actually moving downwards. So if this particular stock is suggested to you in your model portfolio, infinity portfolios, you don't have to take any call until we come and tell you. But if you're actually just personally investing in the stock, if you follow our strategy, it's down by since 3 months and the score is near 60. So you can look at exiting it.
The next question is from Mr. Johnson. Hi Jason, what is the relationship between ROCE and ROE? How does one interpret if ROE is greater than ROE? What indicates cash flow after all payouts? I'm confused with all these acronyms. How do we know whether the cash flow is being invested to improve profitability or being spent on Lamborghinis?
Okay. So I think these are certain formulas, and some of the people in accounts where in the financial space would actually understand it. Return on capital employed, amount of capital the company is employing, and you have the net profits in the numerator. And this is return on equity, where we look at the net profit of the company and the shareholders' equity. Now these two are certain ratios we look at. If you look at, simply go over here to valuation. Yeah, just keep flashing the question if you don't mind. Yeah. So we look at return on capital employed and return on equity as well. It's slightly different where we look at capital employed at one place and the shareholders' equity at the other place. If you ask me how to interpret it, it's very simple. If the particular ROE is going upwards and it's moving, it's higher than its peers, then the company is actually using it's actually giving a higher amount of wealth to its shareholders. That's what the return on equity is all about. So the higher the better in both these particular ratios. So that's how you could interpret it. Look at this across companies in the similar sector. Don't just look at ROE of one particular company, acha ye 20% hai. look at it across different sectors itself, and then you'll get a better idea. Whether, let's say, Praj Industries ROE is at 20%, and let's say a particular company over here, you can look at other companies as well. And you'll have to see how it's with respect to its peers. The second one is what indicates cash flow after all payouts. I am confused with all the acronyms. I'm not sure where you can actually see cash flow after payouts. If you're talking about cash flow from operations, so if you just elaborate on the second point. How do we know whether the cash flow is being invested to improve profitability or being spent on Lamborghinis? You will have to look at how the company is performing with its financial trend. If the company was actually using the money to spend on Lamborghinis, it would have really high expenses and the profits would fall. So you don't have to worry. The financial trend also looks at this particular thing, because only if the company is actually using its expenses wisely is when it will actually have profit, is when the CFT score will actually go up. If the company is going to spend money on Lamborghinis or actually on things which don't actually result in profit, the CFT score will decrease because the profit of the company will decrease as well. So you don't need to worry about this particular thing. If this actually confuses you, you don't have to get much deep into that. Just look at the CFT score as a whole. You don't have to look at one particular parameter. You can look at the CFT score as a whole and get a particular idea.
The next question is from Mr. Jacob. Jason, but how do we see the technical and valuation factor before results? When the results are announced, the market has already reacted.
Yeah, I think this is the third time we got this question. I have actually seen it because I had, I have spoken to the team and got this particular data out. We don't have this particular filter currently. So technical and valuation just before the results are done and the market is announced is not currently there in our screener. But as I'm promising you, the next time we have results coming out during the Jan period, when we look at October, November, December, we will then do it live. So we won't look after 15 days. So currently I'm a bit late. If you see here, I'm on 1st December and the results have stopped coming on 15 November. Next time when we have the result season on, we will look at it live. And then we will try to see how to pick companies with technical and valuation factors as on that particular date. So yes, we don't have this particular filter of looking at it before results.
The next question is from Mr. Kirtane. Where and how will we get the past valuation and the technicals?
So currently, if you see, there's not a 100% way of getting it. But if you simply move to valuation over here, there is a particular snapshot over here which shows at what particular price the company falls into. There's no particular thing which says, okay, the valuation of the company was fair on this particular date. It's not possible in valuation. But instead, you could actually go to technicals over here. In technicals, we actually give this particular data. I'll show you how. Just look at these. I'll just zoom in a bit. Look at these particular indicators over here. The triangle upwards is turned bullish. Circle is reversed bullish. And green with circle is reversed bearish, so on and so forth. So here we have a timeline. If you see here, it's from December 19, a good period. And as you see, okay, the company turned bearish over here. Green dot again, reversed bearish. Again a red dot, it turned bearish. So for technicals, you can actually see the price chart over a longer period on how the company has moved, when it has turned bearish, when it has turned bullish, and so on and so forth. You can see here it's written Praj Industries turned mildly bearish from mildly bullish on 1st December. So with technicals, yes, you can actually look at it at a longer time frame. With valuation, currently this is not actually available.
Jason, we are done with the Q&A.
So thanks a lot. I hope I could be able to make you understand what exactly the CFT score is. We've looked at how the CFT score has been calculated, the different checks and balances. We looked at a particular strategy where we looked at companies that have improved, that have actually done better than the last quarter. And with that, we applied 2 filters as well. And we came to a list of stocks which had a 97% strike rate. Now, does this 97% actually hit every quarter? Is when I'll come next quarter season, the next result season in front of you. And we will actually look at whether this works out to be. And yeah, I think thanks a lot everyone for attending. Tomorrow we have a webinar for our Infinity investors. We have Dr. Mohit Batra who would be coming in front of you all and actually speaking about the Mojo Infinity, the monthly performance. It's, I think, the first week. And so we'll be having a monthly performance review for all our investors. Looking forward to seeing you all come for the event. I'll be sending you all invites. Goodbye and have a great evening. Thank you so much.